Hello amazing people, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing the two best ventilating patterns you can use whenever you want to ventilate for your braided wig or for your waist. These are the best pattern you can use. So in this first pattern is called horizontal in between pattern. So this horizontal in between, I'm making sure when ventilating horizontally that is in a straight line. If the horizontal is not going in a straight line, then you are not getting it correctly. So I'm making sure it's going on a straight line. So I'm picking just 3 strands of hair. Anything more than 3 strands of hair is going to look bulky. So I'm picking just 3 strands of hair, ventilating in a straight line. So you just have to watch closely and see what I'm doing. So now coming back to ventilate on the second line, I'm going to be ventilating in between the first and the second knot I did earlier. So if you watch closely, I'm not ventilating opposite the first knot, rather in between the first and the second knot. So now coming back to the second line we ventilated, we are going to be ventilating opposite the first knot we did, not the second knot. Remember, in the second line that we ventilated, we knotted the hair in between the first and the second, not on top or opposite the first knot. So now in this third one we are ventilating, we are now knotting it opposite that first knot, no longer in between the first and the second knot, but opposite it. If you watch closely, I'm sure you understand better what I'm talking about. So now for our fourth ventilation, the knotting is going to be in between the first and the second knot. So all you need to know is that if you're ventilating and the knots are not going in between each other, then you are not getting it right. So whenever you knot the first line, make sure the second line, whatever you are ventilating, is in between each other. So that's why I'm giving you a guide that whenever you ventilate the first line and you want to ventilate the second line, just know that the first hair you are going to knot on the second line is going to be in between that first knotted hair on the first line, between the first knotted hair and the second knotted hair on the first line. So that's how you're going to keep going. So you're making sure that they are going in between each other. if they are all facing opposite each other, both the first, the second, and the fourth line, or whichever line you are ventilating, and you see they are facing opposite each other, then you are not getting it right. So moving over to the next line, we're going to be ventilating in between this first and second knotted hair. If you look closely, you can see what I'm saying. Like after ventilating on that, the next line we are trying to ventilate now, the first and second hair there, I'm trying to ventilate in between each of them. So I started ventilating in between the first and second knotted hair that are next to this line that I'm ventilating. So now I'm trying to go at the bottom to ventilate more hairs, because as you can see, as you are ventilating, the part of the hair that you started or you ended the ventilation is going to be looking slanted, and if it hasn't covered the guideline that you mapped out on the lace of where you are ventilating, you will just have to go back to ventilate, to gradually ventilate it as you are coming up, to make sure that you have gradually covered the mapped out line. So in this video, there's not actually a mapped out line, but I'm just trying to show you what you are going to do when you are ventilating after you have mapped out your lace and you are trying to, ventilate the rest of that space. So I'm trying to, like, you're just going to follow the same pattern when ventilating it to cover that exact space, because once you're using the in-between method, at some parts you're going to see that the end of wherever you stop is looking slanted and it hasn't covered the actual space that is remaining on the mapped out line. So you might not understand what I'm saying now, but when you are ventilating, when you say you want to ventilate a 2x6 or 4x4 or 5x4, whatever lace you are trying to ventilate, you will see at some point whenever you're trying to ventilate in between and wherever you stopped, and you look and you go back at that place after like ventilating so much space already, we see that that's at that particular slanting space that's on your lace, we see that it is still, I don't actually know how to put it, but I don't know how to put it. Just know that the way you're going to continue covering that space is just like the way you're being ventilated. You're just going to continue ventilating in between each other, leaving one line, one hole, just to cover up that space. I know some people might understand what I'm saying, why some will not, but practice makes perfect. So as you continue practicing, you're going to understand better, because I don't think there's any other way to explain it. So this is it, guys, our horizontal in between pattern. Do you see how beautiful it's looking? This is very beautiful. So this pattern is for your braided wig, and when using it for your wigs, for your normal wigs, you can use this pattern for the base. Some use it for the base and also for the body of their wig, and for their closure wigs, frontal wigs and all that. But I normally use this pattern for the base only, but when ventilating for a braided wig, I use this pattern throughout, for both for the base and for the body of the closure of the braided wig. So guys, I will always advise you use double knotting or double split knotting when using this pattern for your wigs. For anything closure wig, always use a double knotting or a double split knotting, guys. But for your braided wigs, you are free to use single knotting using this pattern. So guys, we are done with horizontal in between pattern. Now we are going to be talking about the diagonal or slanting in between pattern. Another word you can use for diagonal is slanting, and here I'm showing you what a slanted or diagonal line is, or how it looks on the lace. It goes diagonal or in a slanting manner. So guys, in this pattern we are using one particular spacing method, which is one line one hole. We ventilate on one hole and leave the next hole, and ventilate on the next hole, leaving one full line. After ventilating on this, the next line we are going to leave it and ventilate on the next following line, that is the third line. Just watch carefully and see how it's being done. So here, this is me showing you we are going to be leaving one full line, and then we are going to be ventilating in between this first and second knotted hair. So as you are going diagonal, we are still going in between each other, so the hairs are going to be knotted in between the first and the second hair. So as you can see guys, they are all in between each other. We have knotted on 2 lines now, so and the 2 lines are all in between each other. So now you just have to like head over and ventilate on the 3rd line, leaving 1 line for ventilating on the 3rd line. So guys, this is what it's looking so far. Diagonal or slanting in between pattern. Guys, if you find this video helpful, please remember to like and also subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so whenever I drop more videos like this that you might be interested in, you will always be notified. Thank you for watching guys. So guys, this is what is looking so far. This is our diagonal in between or slanting in between method. So you can see how beautiful it's looking. You can use this method for your wigs. I especially use this method for my body of the wig, for the body of the wig. So whenever I'm ventilating my closure wigs, frontal, this is what I use for the body. And for the base, I use horizontal in between. While for the body, I use diagonal or slanting method in between. So that's it guys. Please remember, whenever you're using this method, you should use double knotting or double split knot when you're using it for your closure wigs.